Hi everybody. Right, today's practical lesson is chicken tikka masala. This is quite an easy dish to make. It's really creamy, it's full of flavour, and it's one of the UK's most popular dishes. So to start off with, make sure you've washed your hands for at least 20 seconds. You've got a clean apron on, your hair's tied back, you've removed all your jewellery, and you've wiped your work surfaces and got all of your ingredients out or weighed up and your equipment out that you will need. So the recipe for this then, let me just move the camera down so you can see my ingredients. The recipe then for this is 2 tablespoons of oil, so I'm just using vegetable oil. You will need 15 grams of butter. Okay. You will need 1 onion, 2 tablespoons of chicken tikka masala paste. You will need 1 red pepper, 1 can of chopped tomatoes, 1 tablespoon of tomato puree. Okay, so mine's in a squeezy tube like this. You will need 2 chicken breasts. Now I've already chopped my chicken breasts up, and you can see I've used a red chopping board. Really key here that we are preventing cross-contamination. Now cross-contamination means the transfer of bacteria from one item to another, be it on your hands, on the chopping board, on raw food to cooked food. So I've used a separate chopping board for my chicken and a separate knife. I'm just going to put this to one side until I need it. Okay. You will need 1 tablespoon of mango chutney, 75 millilitres of double cream, 75 millilitres of natural yogurt, some coriander, so make sure that you've washed that before you use it, and 200 millilitres of water. Okay. Alright, so the first thing then we need to do is to prepare our vegetables. Now for the vegetables, I'm going to be using a green chopping board, again to prevent any cross-contamination from the chicken, and a sharp knife. Now remember, when using the sharp knives, you always hold them by the handle, you hold it pointing down. You never put a knife in a bowl of hot soapy water, because somebody could easily put their hands in the water, not knowing the knife's in there, grab the blade and cut their hands. When you come to wash up the knife, always have the blunt edge towards you, so that's the blunt edge, and you use just 1 stroke onto the knife to clean it, and then that's the same for when you come to dry the knife up. Okay. Okay, so the red pepper, let's start off then with preparing this. So when cutting vegetables, we're going to be using the bridge and claw method, okay, to prevent any cuts whilst using the sharp knife. So you have your hand like a bridge, holding the item that you're going to cut. The knife goes under the bridge so the blade is well away from your fingers. Okay, right, so we need to remove these seeds. So hand like a bridge, you're going to do a V-cut, and then with your hand you're just going to pop those seeds out. Okay, make sure you're adopting the rule clean as you go, so all rubbish goes into the bin. And let's do the other half. Knife like a bridge, hand like a bridge, then with the knife a V-cut, pull out those seeds and then into the bin. Okay, we're then going to chop this up into large chunks. So that was the bridge method, now the claw method. So hand like a claw, thumb behind your fingers, hold in securely what it is you're going to chop, and then slice this into large slices and then into larger chunks like so. And like a claw, and like a bridge, and then slice that into larger chunks. If there is any seeds left in there, just remove those. You don't want those going into your curry. Alright, so there's my pepper. Any prepared ingredients, I'm going to put them onto a plate until I'm ready to use them. Alright, same thing then with your onion. Hand like a bridge, knife under the bridge, and then cut your onion in half. Remove the skin, and then you want to roughly chop your onion. Okay, I'm going to leave the stalk on because all of the juice that's concentrated in the onion is round the stalk area. Okay, I'm going to try not to disturb that too much to hopefully stop me from crying. Okay, so hand like a claw, thumb behind your fingers, holding the onion. I'm going to slice towards the root one way. I'm going to turn my knife like this, holding it again like a claw, slice through the onion, turn my knife again, and then this time I'm going to slice down to have rough chunks of the onion. Okay, and then the same with the other half. Remove the skin. And then I'm going to cut that again in medium-sized chunks. Like so. Alright, and then that will go onto my plate until I need that. Okay, so that's my onion and my pepper. Make sure you always clean as you go. So if you need to wipe your work surface, then you can do that to have a clean and tidy work surface as you're going along. Alright, so now let's start to cook the chicken and the rest of the ingredients. So you will need a quite large frying pan. So here's mine. Okay. In the pan you're going to add your oil, and then you're going to add your butter to give that a little bit of flavour when you're cooking. And then heat that up onto a medium heat. Now remember, when you're using the hob, you always make sure that the handle is turned in on your saucepan. Never have your handle pointing outwards. Okay, it's easy for somebody to walk by this and this could get knocked off very, very easily. So have it turned inwards. I'm using a wooden spoon so it doesn't conduct heat and burn my hand. Always make sure you have an adult present when cooking at home, and you have the permission of the adult and the supervision of the adult at home when you are cooking. Okay, so heat that up, the butter will start to melt, and you can add your onions into the pan. Okay. You want to cook these onions until they're soft. Do not burn your onions, otherwise your curry will start to taste bitter. Alright, so you just want to gently cook those until they are soft. So it will probably take, on a low heat, turn it down a little bit, about 5 minutes until they're softened and they've got a little bit of colour but not burnt. Okay, that's been cooking for about 5 minutes. The onions are nice and soft. They've got a little bit of colour on them, but they're not burnt. So now you need to add your tikka masala paste. Okay, so add that into your pan. That's going to give the nice flavour of the chicken tikka masala. And you can add your peppers. So peppers are full of vitamin C. It's going to give some texture and also colour to your curry as well. So give that a good stir, and then you want to cook that for about 5 minutes. So really coat the tikka paste over the onions and over the peppers, and cook that for about 5 minutes so the peppers get a little bit soft and you're cooking out the bitterness from the spices. Alright, so we're back after 5 minutes, and that has been cooking to just soften those peppers a little bit and just to cook out any bitterness from the spices. So now we can add the chicken. So the recipe is 2 chicken breasts, but I've actually added 3 here, so I want it to serve 4 people. And make sure you give that chicken a really good coat with all those spices and the onions. So just turn it around in your frying pan, and then you're going to add your tomatoes. Okay, the whole tin, and your tomato puree, and that can go in as well. And 200 millilitres of water is being added in there as well. So now the chicken is going to cook in the sauces. So rather than frying the chicken and making it tough and too crispy, we're just going to let that chicken now just cook in all of those juices. Alright, so that wants to cook for about 15 minutes. I'm going to put a lid on that and just let that simmer on a medium heat for 15 minutes until the chicken has cooked all the way through, and then we'll check on that again in 15 minutes time. Okay, so welcome back. So this has been simmering now for about 15, possibly 20 minutes. I've taken the lid off the last 5 minutes just so we can thicken up that sauce a little bit as well. Okay, and the chicken's cooked all the way through, so the chicken isn't pink in the middle and the sauce has got a little bit thicker too. Alright, so turn it off the heat, and now you can add the rest of your ingredients. So the first thing we need to do is chop your coriander. So this has been washed. Okay, I've got a green chopping board here. I'm going to bunch all of this together, a nice tight bunch. Okay, holding it with the claw, so claw method, and then just roughly chopping that coriander. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to add, make sure it's off the heat, you're going to add your mango chutney, so that's going to go in. That's going to just add a little bit of sweetness into the curry. And going to add your yogurt, so 75 grams of yogurt. This is a 150 gram pot, so I'm going to add half a pot of this yogurt. Okay, and some cream, so 150 millilitres of double cream. So this is going to give that rich, creamy flavour that we know of as chicken tikka masala. Okay, stir all of that in, and then you can add half of your coriander. I'm going to leave half to sprinkle on the top. So when using fresh herbs, you always add fresh herbs into a dish at the end to get the maximum flavour from those herbs. Right, combine all of that together, so give it a really good stir, very gently of course. Alright, so it's looking a little bit more like chicken tikka masala now. a rich creamy flavour. And then it's time to serve this up. So I have boiled some rice. Okay, there we go. And I've bought some mini poppadoms to go with it. And then I'm going to serve this in my dish. Sprinkle a little bit of coriander on the top, and then there you have it. Perfect dinner for tonight of chicken tikka masala. So I hope you enjoy making that. I'm looking forward to seeing all of your photographs of what you have made. I'm looking forward to seeing what tasters have said about your dish, and enjoy. Bye.